Hey there to everyone watching, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to my reaction to the results from the second semi-final of BenidormFest 2024, which took place on Thursday. So 8 more songs competed and 4 songs qualified for the final. Now, I did react to the semi-final round results a couple of days ago, and also reacted to all songs in studio version. And if you want to check out any of those videos, I will leave the link up above to the playlist for Spain 2024, so please do check those out if you want to. But in this video, I'm going to watch a recap of all 8 performances, and I'll give you my opinions on them all. I did watch the live show on Thursday night, so not a first time reaction, but I will watch a recap, give you all my opinions on them, and let you know what I think, and whether I'm happy with the qualifiers or not. And timestamps will be down below if you want to jump to certain points. If you did enjoy this video, please click a like button, so that really helps with the algorithm, so thank you for everyone that engages with that. Please feel free to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be informed of all future video releases from myself. And please feel free to follow me on Instagram. Details are on screen, description box below, and at the beginning and end of the video. And now I upload loads of Eurovision related stuff there, as well as other just general stuff, so please feel free to do that if you would like to. But without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so the same with semi-1, I'm just going to go through the recap and stop for each performance and give you my opinions on them all. And first up, we had Maria Pelay with Remitante. So studio version, this was one of the ones that I did quite enjoy. Wasn't too sure on it on first listen, but it was one that grew on me. And I did actually quite enjoy her live performance. Vocals were really strong. She really delivered the passion and flavour of the song. I've seen some people say that this does have similarities to Blanca from last year, and I get where they're coming from, but for me, I felt that this is a little bit more accessible than Blanca last year. I don't know, I just felt like the vibe for me is something that I could get into a little bit more. As I said, she gave a really strong live vocal performance. I would say that I wasn't too keen on the staging idea. I think maybe instead of having the 4 male dancers there, I think maybe something like in the music video where we had just the 1 male dancer might have worked. I feel like perhaps it was a little bit overstaged, but vocally she was extremely strong and was one of the standouts of the night in semi-final 1 for me. Okay, Dela Cruz second up, and this was a disappointing performance for me. It just felt rather flat. I think possibly the worst of the vocal performances as well, so it wasn't a surprise that this came last in all 3 of the voting groups. Something about it live, it just wasn't really working. Didn't really excite. So yeah, a bit of a flat performance, and unfortunately, yeah, no surprise that it came last. And then we move on to Marlena. So I do know that this was a bit of a fan favourite in some circles. Unfortunately, it was never one that I really particularly got into. It was one that I found a bit on the bland side. And the live performance didn't really do an whole lot. Having them up on the little podium for most of the time did make it feel a little bit stilted. And vocally, it sounded very flat for me as well at times. Yeah, and I wasn't really keen on her vocal either. And like the little ooh bits that they have in the chorus, like the choreography that they had with that all, it came across as a little bit cheesy to me as well. So unfortunately, again, no surprise for me that it didn't qualify. There were 3 songs for me that were kind of a bit of a drift from the pack, and there was 5 songs battling for 4 places. And yeah, again, no surprise for me that this didn't qualify. Okay, so San Pedro. Of course, this is, well, it was the big favourite, and then we had a couple of other songs take over, and now I think it seems that this has gone back to being the favourite, especially after we got the jury scores from semi-final 2. I will be honest, I've never been a massive fan of the song. I appreciate it. It's a nice listen. You know, it's sweet and it has got a very summery flavour. But for me, it never really had a lot that made it stand out. And I never really saw where, at Eurovision, where the big public support for this was going to come from. I did see some people comment about the staging and not being too positive about it. When I did hear the staging concept before I saw the show, I was a bit worried about it, but I feel that it works better than what I was expecting. But yeah, maybe something more simpler will work for it if it goes to Eurovision. This probably does have to be considered the favourite now, but I will be honest, out of the 8 songs in the final, this is probably my least favourite of the 8. But as I said, I do appreciate that it's got its fans. I can see where its strong points are, but I just don't feel that it's quite as strong as many are making out from me. But we will see what happens on Saturday. So it does seem very much that it is going to be the jury favourite, and that might be enough to get it across the line. So Jorge, Gonzalez, Caliente, and going into the show on last night, this probably was my favourite of the 8 songs in this second semi-final. I thought he delivered a strong vocal, especially the I note towards the end. The breakdance, similar to Sophia Cole in the first semi-final, I don't think it particularly added an whole lot to the performance. But, you know, it was well done, very good package. It was one of my top 3 that I had as a clear qualifiers. Won the demoscopic vote, won the televote. Of course, the flop in the jury vote was probably the controversy of the second semi-final, where in the first semi-final we had Mantra winning the televote and not going through. This doing so poorly in the jury vote was the big talking point. And, you know, unless that dramatically changes for the final, it looks like that this song could well be out of the running, which I think is a shame. My prediction is that this could possibly win the demographic and the televote, but then not get through because of the jury votes. But we'll see what happens. But overall, I really did enjoy this, and this is one of the 3 songs that I am hoping to see win on Saturday. But I'll tell you more about that later on. Okay, Yoli Sa. So together with Dela Cruz and Marlena, this was one of the 3 songs which were amongst the ones which I didn't really see qualify, and one of the ones that I were disappointed by as well. It's a nice song, it's pleasant. Vocally, I don't think she was the strongest, and I feel overall I found the performance a little bit on the dull side, if I'm honest. Not a lot actually really excited me there about it, and I've never really been massively keen on the song. So yeah, unfortunately this one, again, no surprise that it didn't qualify. Okay, and then we move on to Roger Pedros, and I think for me this is the biggest robbery of the BenidormFest so far. So I did enjoy the song in studio version, but it wasn't necessarily one of my top favourites. But I feel this was the strongest performance of the second semi-final, you know, and it's interesting that it's the one that kept the performance and the staging simple. It just was in with the piano and the lights, and I feel like it really helped to tell the story so well. And I think it's a real shame that it hasn't gone through. The demoscopic jury having this last isn't really fair in my opinion, and below some of the other less stellar performances. I think that's really shocking. I really would have liked to have seen this qualify. I had Roger, Jorge and Maria as my top 3, and then I had Almaco still to come of course, and San Pedro battling for that 4th spot. So in the end, I got 4 of the 5 that were in my top 5. But yeah, I really think this did deserve a qualifying spot, because I think he really did sell the song. I think he had a great vocals, great intimacy and connection with the camera, and I feel like it gave like a really sort of like emotive performance too. So really disappointed to see this one miss out. And then we move on to Malmo. So this did, I think, at one point become the favourite for the victory, or not anymore. It did get such a good reaction from like the press poll, you know, so I think a lot of people was really expecting something really strong. And whilst, you know, it had nice things with the, like the graphics on screen and all that, vocally it was possibly the worst performance of the evening. You know, it was a real disappointment, and I feel like just the stage presence as well wasn't quite so much there, and like the old package just felt a little bit flat, and definitely if this was to go to Eurovision it would really struggle. So I'm hoping that it was just like a one-off poor performance on the live show, and that it can bring it back for the final, because as I said, the press poll did have this as like the clear favourite from this second semi-final. So for the performance to be as poor as it was quite a surprise. As I said, I did have this battling with San Pedro for my fourth spot in this semi-final. This would have taken my full spot based on the song itself, whereas San Pedro maybe more on the performance. It made it through to the final. Doesn't look like it's going to be a winner now, as it only just got through, but hoping for a stronger performance in the final, as I do really like the song. So there we have it. Those were my reactions to semi-final 2 in the 8 songs taking part. So overall, the standard of performance was kind of on a similar level to semi-final 1. I feel like the sound problems were kind of sorted out more, although I did still see some people feel that there were sound issues with the mixing, but I generally found that it was better than the first semi-final. For me, there were 3 standouts, as I said. Maria and Jorge were both qualified, and I do feel like Roger was actually my personal favourite of the night, but I knew that it would be a little bit more tricky for him to get through. It was always, I felt like, 4 from 5 songs going through, with those 3 that I've already mentioned, and Malmo and San Pedro, and in the end Roger did just miss out. So I think the 3 qualifiers were the obvious qualifiers going into the evening. Overall, for the final, I feel like the standard is strong, but maybe not quite as strong as the previous 2 years. If I was to say who my choices for Eurovision are at the moment, I'd want one from either Angie, Nebulosa or Jorge. They are probably my top 3 based on the whole package of song plus performance. Then I'd probably have Maria in 4th, maybe. And then who do we have left after that? In 5th, I would probably put Miss Caffeina with Sophia in 6th, and then Malmo 7th. And as I said, San Pedro is my least favourite of the finalists. It's the only one of the finalist songs that I don't really fully connect with. I can appreciate it is a nice song, it's a sweet song, but it just doesn't really have something that makes it stand out for me fully. But I know a lot of people do really love it, so I am expecting San Pedro to be the winner, although I do feel that there is a chance of possibly Angie or Nebulosa to push him close. I think a lot of it will depend on that jury vote, because of the way that the voting is split up. You know, the jury does have a lot of power, and I think they could probably put him out of reach of anyone else just based on their votes alone. But it will be very interesting to see what happens when we do combine the 2 semi-final qualifiers together to see where everything falls in relation to each other. But yeah, those are just my thoughts on the second semi-final of BenidormFest, so please do let me know your thoughts down below. I'll be very interested to hear all of that. And if you did enjoy this video, please consider clicking the like button, as that really helps a lot with the algorithms and everything. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't and you'd like to be informed on more future videos from myself, and follow me on Instagram if you'd like to as well. But thank you very much for watching once again. Please do take care, and until the next video, goodbye.